following lecture was produced by Glorian Publishing, a non-profit organization, and is one of hundreds of lectures freely available via download, podcasts, streaming radio, and transcription. These lectures range in topic and complexity in order to address the many needs of humanity. We invite you to browse our library of lectures, books, courses, and articles to find teachings that suit you. Through the support of donations, Glorian Publishing has published 40 books, hosts international retreats several times a year, offers free online courses, and many other valuable resources, available to anyone worldwide. All of this has been made possible by the financial support of listeners like you. Your donations make it possible for this free public service to reach thousands of people every day. To make a tax-deductible donation in any amount, even anonymously, visit gnosticteachings.org. Now, with heartfelt wishes for the end of suffering for all creatures, we begin the lecture. May all beings be happy. Welcome to today's lecture. Today we're going to be talking about connecting with our inner wisdom, our inner divine, our being. We started just by becoming more present. So anytime you listen to a lecture, read a book, do any kind of work, just try to ground yourself for a few minutes by taking a few deep breaths, stretching, getting comfortable, getting into a place where we could receive, letting go of any kind of stress, any kind of pains, and just really being open to the message that we're about to get in whatever form that may be. So today, my goal is to talk about how do we connect with our inner divine. We may have read many books, we may have heard many lectures, we may have had many thoughts about our inner wisdom, our God, our divine mother, our inner being. But do we connect with that source? Do we remember that energy within us? Do we honor that within ourselves? A lot of times we get bombarded with life and thoughts and egos and challenges, and do we turn to that divinity within us for guidance, for help? And sometimes the answer may be sometimes yes and sometimes no. And some of you may be saying, I don't know what my inner divinity feels like. And some of you may say, yes, I feel that all the time. Whatever spectrum you're on, whatever level or whatever relationship you have with your inner divinity, today my goal is to just investigate that further and to see what that feels like inside of us, to get to know it a little bit better. And as you see, I've sort of put around us some things to get us started, some essential oils in the diffuser. That's frankincense oil, one of my favorites to help us ground ourselves. It's a really good oil for spiritual work, to elevate the mood. I also have a sacred statue helping us, guide us, and a candle alongside that. I also have some rose incense burning, creating that environment, creating that sacred space. So wherever you are, if it's your home, or I have this going on in my office even, just to remind me. So wherever is your space that you have, create an atmosphere, elements around you so that could bring you closer to that divinity. And it may be different for you. Your sense may be different. It may be a different way you connect. I have a lot of sacred images in my home that when I turn and I look, I'm constantly reminded of that. So create that space for whatever works for you. So our lecture today is connecting with our Divine Mother or our inner wisdom. You may hear me referring to our Divine Mother or our inner wisdom sort of interchangeably. So just know that we're speaking of our inner being. God does not have any form. God is coessential to the abstract absolute space. God is that. God has two aspects, wisdom and love. As wisdom, God is the Father. As love, God is the Mother. So God as the Father resides in the eye of wisdom, and that eye is situated between the eyebrows. God as the Mother resides in the temple of the heart. Wisdom and love are the two principal columns of the Great White Lodge. And within each human being, there exists a soldier from the army of the voice. This soldier is the internal Christ, who exists in every man that comes into the world. Now, I'm reading a few quotes, and these are teachings from the Master Samael Aun and some of the teachings on our website, gnosticteachings.org. And I just want to, I'm sure this is a lot that you've already heard if you've been learning with us. And I want to talk about what we do know, and then I want to delve further in, do we feel her? Do we feel that divine goddess within our heart? Do we explore that relationship within us? So if you're new, or if not, as a reminder, remember that the divine mother or goddess is the power of nature, which is prakriti, existence, energy, creativity, destruction, and more, symbolized in a human-like form. The divine mother is the formless ultimate root of existence, who can take form in order to aid beings. And please don't think that the Divine Mother is something separate from you. You know, this is a huge mistake that people make, thinking that God is separate. God is never separate from us. God is always within us. Now, one thing that through difficult times in my life, I have felt as if I was separate from God. I felt alone, lonely, because I moved away from God. It's not that God moved away from me. It's that I forgot God within me. I'm never alone. God is always within. And through that discovery and through the realization of God within me, I don't feel alone anymore. So for anybody who does struggle with feeling alone, you know, I invite you to explore divinity within you, because it's in there right now. Right as you're sitting there and listening to me, you're never without it. And when I found that out, it was a great comfort in my heart, because no matter where I was never alone. I was always guided. I was always accompanied by the greatest force in existence. Among the Aztecs, she was known as Tonantzin. Among the Greeks, as chaste Diana. In Egypt, she was Isis, the Divine Mother, whose veil no mortal has lifted. There is no doubt at all that esoteric Christianity has never forsaken the worship of the Divine Mother Kundalini. Obviously, she is Mara, or better said, Ram-Io, Mary. What Orthodox religions did not specify, at least with regard to the esoteric or public circle, is the aspect of Isis is her individual human form. Clearly, it was taught only in secret to the initiates that this Divine Mother exists individually within each human being. It cannot be emphasized enough that Mother God, Rhea, Cybele, Adonai, or whatever we wish to call her, is a variant of our own individual being in the here and now. Stated explicitly, each of us has our own particular, individual Divine Mother. And that's from The Great Rebellion by the Master Samael Aun. Each one of us has our own particular, individual Divine Mother that knows us, that works with us, that guides us, that knows us better than anybody else, any other force. She's with us all the time. But she's individual to us, which is quite beautiful. Just like we have our own physical mother, we have our own Divine Mother. So we must search for the Divine Mother within our own heart temple. The cross of initiation is received within the heart within the temple of the heart. She, the adorable Lady of Love, is the only one who has the power of awakening her children within the womb of the profound universal spirit of life. God the Mother is love. God the Mother adores us and loves us terribly. When we work with the Arcana Mazief, the Mother Goddess of the world rises through the medullary channel and transforms herself into the fiery serpent. The Mother Goddess of the world is Devi Kundalini. The Divine Mother carries her beloved child in her arms. Her child is the internal Christ of each human being. Do you feel her within you? Do you know her? Well, this one disciple asked Master Samael a question, and he said, "But if one does not know one's own mother, how is it possible to love her? If the knowledge of her is nothing more but abstract, and one does not have a spiritual experience in order to be able to communicate with her and to love her?" And some of you may be feeling that we speak about this divine mother and this divine energy, and you may say, but okay, I know her intellectually, I know she exists, but I don't feel her. And that's what some students struggle with. Some students don't feel her in their heart, or don't experience her within their meditation, or within their daily living, or within their dreams. So the Master Samael answered the disciple and said, "All the sages of antiquity spoke to us about the Divine Mother. I am not quoting anything new. Christianity itself also symbolizes the Divine Mother as Mary, Maya. Among the Egyptians, that female god or Divine Mother is Isis. Among the Hebrews, she is symbolized, represented as Adonaiah. As well, she is represented by Cybele in ancient Crete, or by chaste Diana among the Greeks, or by Tenancingo here in the Mexican homeland. Thus, I am not stating anything new. I am saying that we should love the Divine Mother. This God Mother is within us, not outside of us. She is, I repeat, a variant of our own being, but I clarify, derived. I indicate that if one knows how to love the Divine Mother, one can achieve the elimination of the psychological defects. But in that, I see no need of theorizing. Love her, that's all. When one as a child addresses one's own mother, one does it without the need of so many theories, nor of so much analysis. Likewise, one can also address one's own ineffable Divine Mother. It does not matter what name one gives to her, namely Mary or Isis or whatever, but one can address her with true love, begging her to disintegrate the defect comprehended in all the levels of the mind. This is a matter of the heart. This is a matter of knowing how to love. And this comes from a lecture by the Master called The Human Being and the Universe That Surrounds Us. Does that resonate with you? Do you understand that? Do you feel that? Do you love your Divine Mother? Do you have that relationship with her? Do you feel her in your heart? What is your relationship to your Divine Mother? What is it? Have you examined it? So, actually, I want to say a bit about that is, sometimes, and maybe this is true not for everybody, but for some people, we focus a lot about our defects, our egos, about, we read many books and it's great to read and it's great to understand the knowledge, but how much of it are you applying to yourself? So in the day, when you're identified with an ego, when you feel a defect working through you, perhaps it's anxiety, fear, what do you do in that moment? Do you beseech your Divine Mother? Do you ask for help? Do you remember yourself? Do you pause? Or do you just get identified and let it flow through you and rant and rave and do whatever it is? And sometimes the answer may be sometimes I do identify and sometimes I remember myself. That's the goal. What is your relationship? Do you beseech her in those moments when you are identified? Do you rely on her as a child relies on their mother to help them guide the way? Do you call upon her for help? So for example, if I'm having an anxious moment, right, and I'm feeling anxiety, what I do is I stop for a second. Once I start feeling this, you have to look at your body. Your body will tell you when you're feeling something, right? So anxiety is a great example. In this day and age, I don't know anybody who's not anxious at one point or another, right? Fearful of something, anxious. And remember, anxiety is when we're thinking about the future, right? We're worried about something. We're worried about, I have to do this, or maybe this is going to happen, or maybe. So I have dealt with a lot of anxiety in my life, and I could see that it manifested here in my emotional center, right in my heart area. And it would feel like this heavy stone whenever I experienced it, like this weight upon my chest, sort of like a hard rock stuck in there. And I started praying to my Divine Mother to help me with this, to understand, what is this? Like, why do I feel this anxiety? And I would pray and meditate and ask and, what is this? And then I started to get the answers. And when I got the answers, I realized I was thinking about the future, right? I was thinking about what was happening, what was I worried about. And when I stopped myself, when I was able to stop and say, hey, I see you, I see that defect, like I saw the defect working inside of me, worrying about the future, right? And I just stopped and I said, okay, what's going on? Hey, what's going on? Well, I'm worried about blah, 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 blah. Okay. And then I paused. I took a few deep breaths. And then I said to my inner divinity, I said, what do I know is true about this? Is there any truth to this that I'm worried about right now? And then I would get an answer. I say, what do I know about this? And I would pause and I would listen to my Divine Mother's words. And usually she says something like, everything is fine right now. You're safe. You're dealing in this present moment. You don't need to worry about what might happen. You are okay. You are safe. That may not even happen, and you're wasting your energy on something that's not even here. You are okay. I am with you. We will take care of whatever happens. And that was the answer that she usually comes back to me with. And just sensing her in that moment when I was feeling that anxiety changed everything. My anxiety would go away. Because I know she is with me, and she's guiding me, and I don't need to feel that fear. I don't need to feel that tension about what may be. I just need to deal with what is in the present moment. So by remembering her like that, it totally transformed my anxiety, where now if I get that feeling of anxiety, I just pause and I stop and I say, I feel my Divine Mother. I'll put my hands over my chest sometimes and I'll just feel her and I'll say, okay, what's going on? Or what do I know to be true? And that has helped me tremendously. And that makes me pause and break that identification with whatever defect is taking over in that moment. Just that pause and those few deep breaths bring me back to the here and now. Because when we're identified with an ego, we're either dealing with the past or the future, right? But when we're here and now, we're here and now. We're with our being. We're with what really is, what's going on in this moment. So that really helped me to deal with some of the stuff I was going through. This quote comes from a sacred Hindu scripture, and it's a very cryptic statement from the Divine Mother. What she's stating in here, she says, I am of the nature pervading every moment. So whatever actions are performed at any moment are all equal to taking my vows and festivals. So what she is stating is that every single action we engage in determines our relationship with her. What it means is it is possible to come to know her, to be guided by her, to have experience of her. Even if you do not know all the mantras, mudras, different prayers, rituals of Hinduism or Buddhism or Catholicism or whateverism, you do not need to know all that stuff to experience your Divine Mother. What you need is cognizance of her. If one has moment-to-moment cognizance, awareness, a remembrance of the Divine Mother here and now, she immediately responds to that, always. This is easy to understand. Well, if you imagine in that feeling also exists in your Divine Mother, who is an awakened power of nature, that feeling must be greatly enhanced. Our Divine Mother senses and feels absolutely everything that we feel and do without exception. So how do we live? This is the answer to our spiritual riddle. How are we living from moment to moment? Do we remember her? Do we perform our actions in remembrance of the presence of our Divine Mother? Do we measure our thinking and feeling and impulses to act in proportion to the remembrance of her in each moment? Probably the answer is we do not, or sometimes we do, but not all the time. And that is why we suffer. That's why we have anxiety, fear, anger, lust, envy, jealousy, and the list goes on and on. That is why we do not know who she is. That is why we do not have the kundalini awakened. So if we do not remember her, that's where we are. We're in that cycle of suffering because we're living either in the future or the past, and we're not feeling her within our heart. As I'm speaking these words, can you experience her within your heart? Can you feel her right now? Do you feel her presence? We need to come back to her. If we do not feel the Divine Mother, it is because we have abandoned her, not the other way around. The Divine Mother never abandons us. She's the voice of truth within us, the part of us who knows who we really are. She loves us unconditionally and can thus offer us compassion no matter what. She knows the best course of action for us to take, and we can call upon her for guidance and help at any time. Now, how can we do this? So, one of the ways I was telling you is, so let's say I need an answer to a question, or perhaps I'm feeling very identified with the situation. Maybe I just had an argument with somebody and I saw my anger come out very ferociously and surprisingly, and I don't understand it. Or perhaps I need guidance in whether or not I should take this job that was offered to me, or should I get into this relationship that is presented before me. You know, all these questions of life, sometimes we try to come up with answers, and we may ask our friends for opinions, and we may ask our family members, and what do you think? Should I do this? Shouldn't I do this? And we ask everybody except the one who really knows us the best. And that's our inner divinity. So I'm going to ask you to, in those moments, you know, that we have such circumstances, try doing this practice. And I'm going to ask us to do it right now. So let's take a moment now and close our eyes if that's comfortable for you. If closing your eyes is not comfortable, just pick a space a few feet in front of you and stare at that point. Put your hand on your heart. You could put one hand and put one hand over it and your right hand over that. And feel that heart. Feel your heart beating within you. Let's take a few deep breaths. When we take the breaths, that brings us back to our divinity, that breath of life. Breathing in through the nose and out through our mouths. This is a way to move away from the chatter in our heads and to focus internally, physically and emotionally connecting to our heart and our inner wisdom. With your eyes closed or gazing ahead of you, remember a time when you felt guided by your Divine Mother, by your inner wisdom. When you made a decision that deep down felt right to you. A time when you followed your intuition or this little voice that told you what to do. when you said yes to something that perhaps seemed impossible, but that you knew was the best decision for you. Maybe it was a relationship, saying yes to a relationship, letting someone into your life. Maybe it was taking another route on your way home to work, and then later on you found there was a big traffic jam that way. It was just a little knowing and intuition. Do you remember a time when you said yes, when you remembered, when you heard that little voice inside of you telling you what was your best course of action? How do you feel or hear or experience that wisdom? There are a few different ways that we can experience our inner wisdom. Do you hear it? Are you one of those people that can hear the voice? Like it's a little whisper of voice telling you, don't go down that way, go this way. Some people can hear it. Or are you more of a visual person and you get a flash in your mind's eye and you can sort of see the best thing to do? Like it's a picture. Or perhaps in a dream you have it, and it comes to you in that way. Or is it just that you know, you feel it? You just say, I know. I know it's the best thing, and I just know it. I don't know how I know it, but I do. It's just all in me. I feel it. Or some people feel it by having a feeling in their body. For example, when you feel someone telling you the truth and you feel like the hairs on your back or on your arms stand up when you know something's true. Or you get that gut feeling like, I know I have to do it this way. Does your inner wisdom speak to you that way? Reflect. How does your inner wisdom speak to you? Is it verbally? Do you hear her? Do you see images? Do you feel it? Or do you just know it? And maybe one or two of those are really strong in you. Think about how your inner wisdom speaks to you. How often do you feel that or hear that or sense that? Do you stop long enough to feel it? Perhaps you only have experienced that once in a while, and that's fine. You know you need to work on listening and stopping and pausing. Do you stop to listen for that guidance, or do you rush through life, making your decisions blindly? Be honest with yourself. This is only you checking in with you. There's no right answer. This is only your work on yourself. No matter how close or far you feel from your inner divine, you can always meet her in meditation, in quiet moments like this, in slowing down, in seeking her advice. Take a few more deep breaths. Stretch a little if you need to. Opening your eyes when you're ready. Just a slowing down like that in your day can bring you back to your divine wisdom, your inner guidance. I've been doing this more and more. And honestly, I have felt such a sense of peace and knowing and guidance and love. And like my heart is so full, which allows me to love all those around me more, which allows me to live my life happily and fully. So I encourage you to, when you're struggling with something or when you're feeling something like that, to just stop. Connect with your divinity. and ask, what is it that I need to know about this situation right now? Why did I get so upset? Or help me to just know that everything's okay. Sometimes we just need to know that everything's going to be all right. And our inner divinity helps us to feel that. So using tools like this and other tools helps us to remember and to explore it. All right, well, I hope from this lecture you will go away seeking your Divine Mother, because she's with you, and loving her more, okay? And knowing that no matter what, she's there for you. No matter what, she's there. Okay? So thank you, and may all beings be happy. Thank you. To learn more about what you learned in this lecture, we invite you to explore the books published by Glorian Publishing, available from booksellers worldwide. You may also be interested in online courses or upcoming retreats, all of which you can learn about at gnosticteachings.org. All of this has been made possible by the financial support of listeners like you. Will you help others to benefit from this knowledge? Most spiritual schools recommend a donation of $10 to $20 per lecture. Every donation helps. Make a donation now at gnosticteachings.org. Thank you. May all beings be happy.